Hey, hello, hello, everybody. Let's see, yeah, let me see where I am. Chat rules. We always start there. Please be over the age of 17 and please be kind to one another. Happy Sunday, all, and welcome. Hi, Thomas. Were you about to give up on me? Think I wasn't going to be here? Sorry I'm late. Hello, everybody out there in Coloring World land. Hello, Corolla and Mona and Daryl Lynn. And hang on, let me pop out the chat and put it over here where I can see it and make that smaller so it doesn't overwhelm the screen. And yes, it is Sunday. What adventures will Sunday bring? It has been a week of adventures, that is for sure. And I'll tell you guys all about it. For those of you who might not follow me on Facebook, you know that my week started out with a blessing, and then came a hurricane. Hello, Robin. And oh my goodness, it's so nice to see everybody. Hello, my dear Daphne du Maurier. I'm assuming that D stands for Daphne du Maurier. And it has been just it has just been a week, that's for sure. It was so cool. My blessing, by the way, 11 o'clock Sunday night, I get a text from my neighbor down the street. Seems that he has a new hookup. And this hookup results in him regularly getting a bunch of organic veggies and organically grown veggies. So, hello, Susan. So he brought me a box of the most beautiful blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, kiwi fruit, Japanese cucumbers, oranges, navel oranges, which are out of season, lemons, potatoes, sweet potatoes, you name it, it was in this box, right? And it was an absolute real blessing because y'all know that fresh produce is so expensive these days, and I don't have a summer garden like I used to, and so I got real busy Monday morning, flash freezing, and like I made a triple berry mix like you usually buy at the grocery store. I made it and flash froze an entire gallon bag of triple berry mix, and all this processing of all of this lovely food. And then the hurricane hit on Tuesday. I spent all day Monday doing that, and I only had the kiwi and the nectarines left to process. And hello, Melinda and Barb and everybody else coming in the door. And so Isaiah, I don't know why they want to call it Isaiah or whatever. I think it's Isaiah, although I could be wrong. Went through and knocked out the power. Well, that was kind of a drag because it was out. I thought it was 6 hours, but I was asleep. So as it turns out, it was closer to 12 hours. And I had just made, literally just at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I was putting the rest of it in the refrigerator, a big pot of chicken curry stew. which I'd already thawed out the chicken for before all of this veggie bounty made its appearance. So anyway, so I ended up, it was still reasonably warm when the power went out, and that, to have that sit like that for 12 hours, that's not good. Fortunately, because I had cooked it so thoroughly, and I had sealed it properly, it was okay. It's fine. I ate it 3 days ago, and I didn't get 2 days ago, and I didn't get sick. So it's obviously fine. But so the power comes back on. I'm delighted because up with it comes my internet, right? And I'm like, okay, fine. But I'd seen out in the street that there was this sort of slack cable, and it ran to my house. Now, I thought maybe it was an old TV cable connection, because they never, when they turn those off, they never remove the equipment. Because I had my internet, it never occurred to me it was my fiber optic line. That is until a truck hit it on first thing Tuesday morning. Ripped the fiber optic cable right out of my house. Right, well, actually, I should say right off of my house. It didn't hurt it. Hello, Risa. How are you? Anyway, and hello, Gruna. Is that how you say that? I am never quite sure, but welcome. And so anyway, it has been, so it was Friday before they could get out and fix my internet. So I can highly recommend Verizon. They do excellent work, and really 48 hours, given the amount of damage that the storm caused, was not that long to have to wait for a repair. So I was upset initially because it was going to be 2 days, but you know what? I filled up those 2 days doing stuff that was offline, and it was actually kind of cool because I hadn't had a day off in a while. Anyway, I did finish this new drawing. It is a companion to this one. Now, I should say it is not yet in the shop because I'm still putting the last finishing touches on the electronic version of it, but it will be going in the shop sometime either tonight or tomorrow morning. So when I say the shop, of course, I'm referring to my Etsy shop. I do also want to extend a personal thank you to all of you who have bought something this week. I have had some nice increased sales over the last 2 days. It seems to the visits seem to be being generated from Pinterest, which is an interesting phenomenon and new for me. I've been posting my stuff to my Pinterest boards for years, but never driving any traffic to my store with it. But this week, 96% of the traffic into my Etsy shop came from Pinterest. So whoever you are out there in Pinterest land, thank you. Means I can actually pay that internet bill. All right. I figured that I wanted to work in Fabulous Flowers today. Now, Fabulous Flowers, of course, is the book that I released it. When did I release this? 2018. Really, Christine? Was it that long ago? Yeah, I guess this one's been out for a couple years. And I have never have I ever, shall we play Never Have I Ever? Never have I ever colored this page. So I thought we'd color this page. if that's okay with all of you. Um, Grinning, yeah, it is. Now I should say that I don't really work on my Pinterest presence at all, which is why it sort of surprised me that it did come from Pinterest, uh, and I was absolutely delighted. So I must have been picked up by, or liked or repinned or something by somebody with a far greater presence than mine. And so that's usually how that works. I love the way social networking works. I and I realize that the only way to sell product is to market it. We're way past the days where an artist could just say, "I've written a book," or an author, "I've written a book," or "Here's the drawings that I made," and expect the people to rush over and buy them. That just isn't going to happen. It is all about showing up and being there and actually selling your product. Amazon isn't going to sell it for you. They're not going to market it for you. You really have to be there and do it yourself. So, and nobody knows your product better than you. Thank you, Risa. This is, one day I was messing around and I wanted to just sort of see if I could draw a little bit in the style of Marty Woods. Now, I love Marty Woods. I think he is not to mention the fact that he's just a great guy. Um, I really admire the way that his mind works, the way that his art flows. And he does it better than a lot of people, that sort of floral flowing style that's still freehand, but way controlled. Um, and I wanted to see if I could draw in that style. So this was sort of one of several attempts that I've made to color in the style or to draw in the style of Marty Woods. I didn't get anywhere close, but it's my version. and so I didn't know if I should base it with, I kind of think I want to do a base with markers on some of the little stuff, like the middle areas. And so we'll just have to wait and see how it works out. I could use the Inktense. As a matter of fact, I am going to use the Inktense because, I do love my Inktense. There is no doubt. So I think I might start out with something like the Shiraz, and maybe do a little bit on the insides of all of these. And one of the things that I've noticed, hi Melody, and welcome, and hello Michelle, and everybody who is here, whether you are here and talking or not. I have noticed that in my streams, I have a tendency to babble and just go on and on and on about either what I'm doing or some theory that I'm espousing, and I'm not really paying too much attention to chat. So I want to pay attention to chat today, if you guys want me to. And if you prefer that I just do it my way, that's cool too. I have had my fix of actually getting to, because, as an artist, I'm not allowed to have a political opinion except amongst my very close friends behind closed doors. So I've had a good day of doing just exactly that thing. So I'm very, very satisfied that I've made some good points amongst people who I disagree with. And so I am calm and good, and I can actually not be quite so controlled. I chat already for a whole, yes, exactly, Corolla. Corolla and I have actually had a couple of conversations, not about politics, of course, because we live in different countries, but about cats and all kinds of good stuff. So seems 2 days of being denied social media made me go, ah. Yeah, let me see if I can zoom you down. Hello, Edna. And yeah, I am. I'm gonna zoom a couple of ways that way, and hopefully, I gotta bring up those camera controls, and hopefully that way. And I think I'm still in focus. I hope so. However, now I've got this camera right in front of my face, so I want to be sure not to shout at you. I don't want to shout at you. Oops. Let's see here. Did Sam? Oh, Sammy had internet problems too. Boy, I'll tell you what, that is just the pits for those of us that sort of rely on social media for our outside window on the world. Of course, when my internet is down, I don't even have a telephone because it's all, it all runs off the Wi-Fi. So, can you see any better, Thomas? Hello, Shara. Hello and welcome. And okay, so well then, now you see I'm starting to smell a rat with Jamie, because now Jamie is my friend that brought me all the fruit and veggies. He is one of those guys. He somebody raised him right. I mean, they really raised him right. He basically, he's a young man, but he looks out for his for his neighbors, and he's one of those people that makes the world a better place no matter where he goes. You know those kind of people. Um, and he's recently had some very good decision making on his part that has resulted in him uh, really having a sort of a financial turn in his life. He's doing better than he ever has been, and and he just, but he's always looking out for other people, and so knowing that I am self-employed and I run really tight margins, and hopefully at least until till April, when I can collect my Social Security that I earned, that kind of thing. If there's any left after all of this mess, he seems bound and determined to, to sort of help take care of me. So that's the long story is he showed up yesterday with a bag of meat that just sort of magically appeared that he can't use, right? Oh, well, we just got too much. And I know it really is his grocery store connection, but but I mean, it's not like ground meat. He brought me salmon fillets and, and not any kind of salmon fillets, organic wild caught salmon, the kind from Whole Foods. It just craziness, just craziness. What an amazing blessing he is in the world to me. Okay. I want to, what do I want to do? I want to use, I want that to be a lighter yellow. Okay. So I'm just trying to plan some colors here. No, that's going to be wrong. I don't want that. I want the sun yellow for here. So for the first time in a while, the eats are really good around here. So I've eaten the heck out of fresh avocados because, you know, there's some things that you can freeze. I didn't know you could freeze. You can freeze melon chunks. You can freeze avocado chunks. You can freeze. There's pretty much nothing you can't freeze. I have frozen. Actually, I could do this part with marker, but it's already done with Inktense. So I froze mushrooms. You can actually cut mushrooms up and freeze those. There's a video, there's a YouTube video for everything, literally everything. And it was through that process. Oh, and saving seeds. Because when you have uh, um, when you have organic foods, you can save the seeds because usually, at least there's a greater chance that the seeds are not necessarily hybridized. They might, they're probably not heirloom seeds unless it's, and I now know all of this stuff, but you can save the seeds. So if you have a particularly good melon, you can save the seeds, and the chances are pretty good that it will grow that melon for you. And so all of that is a long way to say that I have a new channel shout out. It is called Roots and Refuge Farm, I think. I've linked it in the description below. And it is not only is the young lady who is behind or is in front of the camera for most of the videos um, so knowledgeable. She's really, really knowledgeable. Now they live in Arkansas, which is a zone 8A. I live in Virginia, which is a zone 8B, but the base information is pretty, it's the same. So like for instance, yesterday I probably waited about a day too long to open the cantaloupe because I ended up having to throw about half of it away. But I was able to save the seeds from the whole thing. So I learned about how to ferment the seeds. You have to soak them in water, which helps to soak the gel off of them. And, you have to leave them in a jar by the sink with clean water for a couple of days and just sort of swirl it around now and again. And then you can let the seeds dry out, preserve them, and plant them next year. But this was a particularly sweet and wonderful cantaloupe. So it should grow that kind of cantaloupe again. Yes, they do, Daryl Lynn. Inktense pencils do play well on alcohol markers. If you use your Inktense, you know that the second layer of Inktense acts or feels a little bit different on the paper and spreads a little bit differently than a first layer. It's the same way with the alcohol marker. So if you are using Inktense over alcohol marker, it is going to act like a second coat of Inktense. Oh yeah, this is a water brush. Hi, and actually, Melody, meet Risa, Melody, and Victor is her last name. And I'm not correcting you, Melody. I just want you to know. Yeah, so unless there's another Victor in here, which there might be, in that case, just never mind. Hi, Jill. Okay, so now, all right, so I've done some yellows. Now let's do some blues. Let's do a blue. I don't want too many colors in this, but I also don't want, do I want a blue? No. Yellow and, yeah, me. Yeah, actually, you know what? Let's go back to the Shiraz. No, let's go to the Shiraz here. And here. This is just an experiment with color. Just want to see what happens if I do this. Come in just a little bit on both sides there. And then use the cadmium orange in here. And in here. I suspect I have got way more pigment than I need there. But we will find out. And what's the axiom? If we don't like it, we can fix it. So I'm just trying to see if I can't make that a little bit. Maybe I'll start in the center this time and go to the outside. Yeah, that makes it a little bit easier. To leave it light in between. But I still want it to, you know, sort of fuzz in like a good blend. Oh, actually, Risa. R-I-S-E is Risa. That's how you say her first name. Never mind. Or you can call her Victor, like she says. I suspect that a lot of people do. And never mind. Now I feel like I put my foot in it. I'm sorry. I should just shut up. Just shut up, Christine. All right, so I like that. I like the way that sort of worked out. It is a warm color. But it also shows you guys that you can operate in a tight space and still get little, you know, you can still work with your colors and keeping the blends. Just start in the center and then work toward the darker side. So that way, and then I'm tapping off so I can keep the light part light and just have the Shiraz part fading in from the sides. So that way this underneath looks like all one flower. Hi, Fern. How are you? Okay. So, did anybody else have an interesting week? It's just, there, of course, since I don't really watch TV anymore, I wasn't totally unaware of Isaias or Isaias, however they wanted to say it. But I also hadn't paid much attention to it. So I had actually no idea that the storm had shifted and was coming straight over the top of us. Last I had heard, it was going somewhere else. So, but I guess it touched shore, and then it went up again, and then it came back on in North Carolina, came up over the top of us. I will tell you that all up and down my street, huge trees were down. I mean, giant trees that have been there for years. The ones that Isabel didn't get in 2003 were gotten by Isaias. They're always the eye storms. Telling you, it's always the eye storms. They know where I am. They know where I live, and the eye storms always come to get me. Iniki, Isabel, Isaias, silly eye storms. Irene. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Well, you guys you probably don't need the water. Okay. Yeah, I don't, Melinda, don't take any chances with that. I have lost electronics to storms, and yeah, I even go so far as to unplug it from the wall. Unplug the strip from the wall, or even the UPS, which is of course the uninterrupted power source. Apparently, that's what I'm going to have to get for my phone, so that I can have phone. No, I didn't. But then Inktense doesn't really bleed through. It can bleed through. Now, if I had used, I can put it under, because it is actually a good idea. Thank you, Melody, for reminding me. But it went in the case where if I'm not using alcohol markers, I don't worry about it too much, because I've rarely, even on Amazon paper, I've rarely had Inktense bleed through. There's only been like maybe once that I can think of, and that's only because I went over it so many times while it was wet with a particular color. Now, I happen to have it on good authority, as in out of the horse's mouth, that Jo Beth isn't going to be on today. Oh, speaking of which, there she is. And Jo Beth, if you feel like coming on later, please don't feel like you have to hold to the idea. If you are feeling it, go for it, dear. LOL, no, not live streaming. Okay. All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to run along if I need to, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. Because I have been missing everybody all week, and so it's I don't know, guys. These are very strange times that we are living in. No, it's not just you, Melinda. I got Melody watching out for me too. She's very good. And Melody, can I just say for a second how lovely it is to see you, my dear. I know how late it is there, and I know that you are up because you can't sleep, or you've set an alarm, which is even kinder. Um, so thank you, honey. I really appreciate it. I do. I do. So this week we've had in this little sort of group that I belong to, we've had some lovely discussions about the causes of the conflict in Rwanda and the initial beginnings and why we delayed our getting involved in World War II, and we've had debates about the postal service, and and whether or not there could, what the potential for voter fraud would actually be, and which is pretty much non-existent. Sorry, I hate to burst anybody's bubble, but anyway, so yes, it's just been, I have, from a standpoint of satisfactory interactions, of actually getting to argue with people without worrying about whether or not they're going to come back hating me. Uh, that has been so nice and so refreshing. And I wish that as a society we could get back to that. Where we could actually disagree with each other and not have it result in each of us thinking the other's an idiot. Wouldn't that be nice if we could get back to a point in the world where opinions and people were actually allowed to have them? Okay, I want to do, I actually think I want to do black around there. And so I am going to choose the black. What I want to do is I want to set this off a little bit, you know. So this is the marker. Now I'm really glad that I do have this, that I do have the plastic down underneath it. Now actually what I should do, and Melody is actually the one who told me about this. I did not see it, but apparently the tip comes from Sammy. When you're using marker, especially, put a porous surface underneath it. Hello, Nana. Yay, welcome, honey. Put a porous surface underneath it because the ink needs to be able to spread downward and not outward. So, so I am looking that. Look at the way that is. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait. Why? Why? Because it's hot again? Is it still so hot there? Susan and Nanamo and all of my other English friends, I hear it has just been blazing there. As far as Nanimo and I were discussing the other day, sort of the relative differences between what Europeans believe is hot and what Americans believe is hot. But nonetheless, I know that here in the South, this is the kind of heat that I find particularly soul killing. So I can imagine that heat on people who are not used to it in any way is pretty much the same way. It just saps your energy. It, makes it so that you really just don't want to do anything. And I am liking the way that black sets off those oranges and that. Okay. 109 where you are, Joe. You're in Arizona, aren't you? Oh yeah, yeah. I remember my girlfriend had to fly out. She lives in Cottonwood, but she had to fly out of Phoenix when I got married in 1990, and the temperature, because I got married June 30th, the temperature was 120 degrees and the airplanes could not take off. So we weren't certain if she was going to make it. But yeah, I was that's hot. That is hot. Okay, now I want to do a, do I want to? Okay. All right, all of you ladies who know so much more about color than I do, and 120 was pretty hot. Obviously that, but you're at 109 right now, so 11 degrees is not that big a stretch. It's just not that big a stretch. And oh, Moana, oh, I love that name. Oh, pretty. Yes, whatever is high for your area is what matters. Exactly, Melinda. And being climatized. Yeah, 94 and feels like 104 in Orlando now. Exactly. And it's so different too. Like the other day, it was only about maybe 89 degrees here, air temperature, but standing in the direct sunlight, it was like I could stand it for about 1 minute, and that was it. And I was trying to cut down some trees where they were blocking the access to the internet panel because, in anticipation of the guy actually showing up to fix it. All right. So what color would you use next in this particular flower? Calling all of my people who know more about color. So I've got the wine and the orange and the yellow. Maybe green? Anybody have a suggestion? So humid and wet. Yeah, now see, that appeals to me, Susan. That peach. Trying to think. I can't envision that in my mind. I'll tell you what I can envision. Let me tell you what I can envision. I can envision dark aquamarine. I'm going to try it. And see what I can come up with. And then I'm going to take just the tiniest bit of green aquamarine very lightly toward the center. I'm going to do 2 of them. And so that way maybe we can compare or get a little bit better of an idea. Peach is not a bad idea. It's just not what I envisioned. But the foil to, or the contrasting color to oranges are, you see peach and orange, okay? So I've gone silent on you again, sorry. Jo Beth, by the way, it's so nice to see you. Been a while since I've seen you. Okay. It's really going to depend upon what I do the next, isn't it? All right, so now let's see. Let's see what would have happened if we'd have gone peach. Trying to think of how to make a peach. I may have to. Actually, you know what? I don't think I can. But I think what I may do is this. I'm just going to give it a lick. Just a lick of apple green. Yeah, sorry, I like it. Don't lick my page. Oh, hello, Kathy. Lovely to see you, my dear friend. And hello, Christine. And Christine Gattenpaste. And all of the wonderful folks who are here. I am just having a ball. Okay, let's try this. All right, so now this is the dark, and this is the green, and then there's the apple. Okay, so yes, I am going to lick my page. I'm going to lick it like an apple. So, yeah, so anyway, so now I know how to save melon seeds. And so there are melon seeds fermenting on my counter or on my sink as I speak. And kiwi, oh my goodness. These are they're called lemon kiwi, and they're kind of like the green kiwi, only they're just like the green kiwi, only they're slightly lighter. And it's so sweet. Oh my goodness. Sweet, wonderful fruit. Hi, Louise. How are you? And how is life treating you? I haven't seen you in so long. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It is so wonderful to get to share some time with you on Sundays. I didn't even make it to any of Dee Dee's streams this week at all. Obviously, Monday I was processing food, and Tuesday and Wednesday I was down. And then yesterday was all about, just trying to play a little bit of catch up. And okay, so let's see how it works when I do the lick directly on the page as opposed to as a lick. So I haven't had a chance to really catch up on anybody's videos. I watched a little bit of, I watched a lot of news just for all the stuff that I missed. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like the way that looks. She is actually in the, one of the things that had to happen is I had to open the door on my old studio because that is where my radio is. My stereo, which I've used since I put the new studio in. Since I moved my operations to my office instead of to my studio. And so the door's been closed. So she's in there and just sort of, she makes it a habit to find a different surface to sleep on every couple of days. And then she, until she gets tired of that one. And so she's working her way through the various surfaces in that room now. And just sort of sleeping. She actually, I really, because I do so much up here and because she really wants to lay right in the middle of everything, I have sort of trained her again to stay off the desk. I know that as a channel owner, that is probably not the most entertaining choice, but as somebody who works at this desk, about 14 hours a day, it's the only choice I could make and still actually be able to get something done. Otherwise, she'd just be laying right in the middle of my work, which is great, except it makes me very unproductive. And when you spend every day fighting for, enough money to keep the lights on, unproductive just doesn't work. Just doesn't work. Found I was spending half my day fighting with the cat, just trying to reclaim space. And I'm like, you are not the boss here, sweet girl. And I kept trying to explain to her. I said, if you like that cat food, if you want more cat food, you've got to get off the desk now. Okay. Um, uh, uh, Melinda, good luck and take care and get in the storm cellar. They scared us with those all day on Monday. Oh my, well, Monday night. Monday night. Nothing. Well, this is why I was asleep during the actual hurricane, because the winds came through, started earlier, and that if you have a cell phone and you live in an area prone to any kind of emergency, you've heard that signal that they send out over your cell phone. Now, I don't have cell service, but I still get those notices, the emergency system. And it's enough to it's designed to wake you out of a sound sleep. Um, and but it just sends me jumping through the roof when that sucker goes off. And then I spend the next, however long until it expires, listening for the telltale sounds of a freight train, because that's how you can sort of tell that there's a. And of course, by the time you hear it, it's very often too late. So you hang out close to the hallway where the bathtub is, so you can get into the bathroom. Well, I'm glad you like it, Thomas. Um, Thank you for being here. So anyway, surely yeah, I like that. I like that sort of multicolored, streaky look of the blues. This is the dark aquamarine, the green aquamarine, and just a lick of the apple green. So that is that color combination. And yeah, I kind of like the way that looks. Of course, y'all know me. I like stuff to be different colors. I am not one who does. I don't. I just have trouble with single color things, because so many things come in. They have subtlety and multiple colors. All right, so now we can go back to I wanted that scarlet pink. I don't want the scarlet pink, but I do want the well, yeah, I do. I want this to I yes, I do. All right, I want this to be orange. I want this to be orange in here. So I'm sort of carrying through, trying to plan this. So we'll make this orange in here. And I'm just using this like, the Inktense just kind of like a regular, regular colored pencil, just putting in the color. Shara, that was a mistake, right? That was, you meant to put in $10. Shara? Shara? You're going to make me cry now. Come on. I'm gonna give her a chance to tell me that was that. Shara. Oh my gosh, Shara, thank you, thank you. That's you guys. You wonder why I'd say out loud to anybody who will listen that you guys literally save me every time. Shara, thank you. Because, I'll never tell you when things are really bad. I mean, I might tell you if something is shut off, but I probably won't. And about, I do have to say that if there's anything good that's come out of COVID-19, it's the fact that they're not shutting stuff off anymore, but they could any second. So, Shara, thank you. Wow. I am speechless. I am absolutely speechless. Oh my gosh, Shara, that is a lot of money in one place. Oh. I gotta put this down for a second. My hands got all sweaty. Oh my goodness. Hang on a second, guys. I gotta blow my nose. Thank you. Thank you for your indulgence. Okay. You guys stop. I am not. I am just an artist who likes to come and visit with all of you and draw a little, draw in color and talk about life and the world and as it occurs to me. Oh, Christine, thank you. I needed that. Oh, Critters and I are in the basement, safe so far. Cat is PO. Dogs think it's a party. Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Melinda, I'm so glad you're in the basement, for one thing, because, boy, those tornadoes, those are no joke. Those are no freaking joke. I mean, a hurricane is bad, but a tornado is worse because it can be on you in a second and you don't know it's coming. You know, because unless ah well, I don't know what I've done to earn such status, Shara, but thank you. Ah, oh. Okay, so we've got people being safe, and it saved me too, Shara. Boy, I'll tell you what, it saved me. And yeah, one of the benefits of Inktense is you can cry on it and it won't reactivate. That's exactly right. Um, and don't be afraid to turn stuff black, guys. So, like for instance, you see these? Why do they have to be colored? They could be black. Look at this. Oh my goodness. I'm going to make them black. And I might even make them shiny black by leaving a little hole in them. Oh, yeah. I was going to say Melody is just, she is so wonderful. Did you read your text above? Um, Hang on. I'm looking for it, Melody. Oh, oh, well, I didn't know that, but Melody, my dear, you are such you are such a blessing, and you have been so very kind to me. Um, and so Melody has done PayPal for me a couple of times. Well, actually, more than a couple of times, and she is just a true blessing, like all of you are. Every single one of you. That I mean, whether or not you support an artist, whether it's me or anybody else, by simply watching their YouTube channel, by you know, by maybe not turning off every ad or skipping over every ad, because those help your channel owners if you watch even just a few of those. The watch time that you give those channels helps the YouTube algorithm to help other people find their channels. Everything, everything that you guys do is in support of. And all of us, I mean, I know that any of us who have ever been lucky enough to, have Google drop that $100 or whatever in your checking account, we all understand where that comes from. That's you guys. You guys do that. It's super chat, yes, but it's also the advertising, the watch time, the all of and the fact that we get to bring you something that you find valuable. Anybody who's ever worked at a job or at a activity that they truly love. These people who are making a living now, well, not making a living so much, but at least a portion of their income from doing the homesteading channels and all of that. I mean, they are literally teaching us to fish. You know what I mean? It's the give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, teach a man to fish and he will eat for a lifetime, that kind of thing. And I figured that the least I can do for them is to I watch all of your ads. When you guys when all of you guys with channels out there, I watch them all. I just let them run. every single one of them. So, it's all whether or not you can do Super Chat or PayPal or just watch or just buy the products or, if you can't do that, just watch. Just, if you've got an internet connection and you can watch, then you are supporting that artist. You are supporting that channel. And that is just an amazing community that YouTube has built. People always want to complain about Facebook and YouTube and all of this, but look at the communities that they built. Look at the people that they put together. Look at the people that they've let find each other. It's just a huge value and a huge, a huge service, and they do it for free. Okay, yeah, I'm liking these black things. Hello, Katrina. How are you, my dear? And uh, yeah, she actually put me in shock. Is really what she did. Oh, uh, Sarah, you are such a sweetheart. Thank you so very much. Really, really, truly. I am liking this flower already. I mean, I really am. Okay, so see, once again, never be afraid to color something in black. It's perfectly fine um, to do that, and we do what we could. Wait, you can also watch ads and sometimes click on them. Oh, Shara, Melody, I agree with you. Thank you for, yeah, not true, Shara. We do what we could, so don't think that way. Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's not, see that this is what I mean. It's not a competition. I'm not Warren Beatty or Warren Beatty. I'm not Warren Buffett. But when I'm able to round up my when I order groceries, if I have to order groceries from Walmart, there's a thing that says, do you want to round it up to the next dollar so that you can help goes to the food pantry? And I am like, always, absolutely. So because I gave them 36 cents, that doesn't make that contribution any less valuable than the guy who contributes, $36,000. It's because it's all a matter of scale. This is what I had to give, and so yeah, it's not a competition, man. Being nice is not a competition. Being kind is amazing, and the world is full of kindness. And that is what matters. Okay, I want these to be pink. And I do mean, actually, let me see if this scarlet pink is what I want, or if I want it pink pink. is the scarlet pink. No, I want if I'm going to do a pink like that, it's going to be the carmine pink. But I think I'm going to go with the fuchsia. Because I am not happy unless I can work fuchsia in somewhere. And generous with time. Well, my time is happily spent doing this, visiting with people, talking with people. Anytime, I get contacted quite a bit, and I don't always have time to talk to people, but when I do, and when I can, I do, because you know what? That might be the difference between them feeling acknowledged and not at all. But one way or the other, I always try and get back to somebody and say, either I can't talk right now, can I call you back? Or, can I, if I, now I'm not always good at seeing it, but when I do see it, I address it right away, because I've got, beside YouTube, I've got Facebook and then I've got Google and I've got my email, my regular email, my company email, my YouTube, Instagram, Messenger, Facebook, CLAldridgeArt, Aldridge, and although a couple of those isn't doing anything at all, like the fabric line isn't moving at all, because of course we're not addressing it. There's only so many hours in a day, and I haven't had a chance to update anything lately. So yeah, I'm liking this colorful flower. I want this flower to be colorful. Although this one may be a little too colorful, but I don't know. I kind of like it. It's an abstract. It's not a real thing. I think it can be colorful. What you can't always talk on the phone for 5 hours. Oh, I can now that I have a cordless phone. Shara, it's so funny. The first time that we ever talked on the phone, because I mean, before the whole proverbial stuff hit the fan last year, we didn't know each other at all. And so we talked the first time we talked on the phone was for like 5 hours. It was wonderful. And we laughed so hard. Oh my goodness. I was hoarse the next day. Remember, I did a live stream and you could hardly hear me. And I was on a corded phone. Yes, exactly. So I had to put it down every time I had to pee, which of course was a bunch over a 5-hour conversation. When, and just hilarious. Or I had to take her with me, because I did have a cord on the phone that would allow me to at least get as far as the bathroom. Oh, no act of kindness, no matter how. Yeah, actually, that is uh, something that Anne at A Colorful Life regularly says at the end of her stream, and also generally puts up. And sorry, and it is so true. Yeah, because yeah, and see, I did not know that. I never knew that all those Apple services operate independent of cell service. So as long as you've got a Wi-Fi connection, if you've got an Apple phone, you can contact anybody else with an Apple phone, even if you don't have cell phone service through FaceTime. And you don't have to do FaceTime. You can do just voice, just speakerphone. You see, this one is cold, so I'm going to pour it into the hot one. And yes, I do always have 2 cups of coffee going on stream day. FaceTime audio, exactly. And of course, I have the iPhone. I got the iPhone because, over any other phone, because my family, my nephews specifically, were having children and at the time. And so they have a shared photo stream on Apple. And so even though I don't have cell service, I am able to access the Apple shared photo stream so I can see pictures of the babies. And the whole, all the relatives of both sides of both families also all have Apple phones, and we all use them for the same purpose. Well, they might use theirs for more, but I certainly only use mine. Now, I did have cell service, had it for years, and just never really used it. I think I added it up. I made 4 phone calls a year on the cell phone. And yeah, it was probably roughly 4 phone calls a year. Or maybe a few more than that. Because I would call my best friend and stuff like that. But as far as needing a cell phone, 4 calls a year is a lot of spending that amount of money for 4 calls a year is sort of ridiculous. But yeah, the services that you get with Apple are phenomenal. The shared photo stream, the the Messenger, the FaceTime. Of course, I guess you could get all of that. There's Skype, and I don't know if you have to pay for that or not. I've never used it. But now there's Zoom, all kinds of different ways for people to stay in touch. Then I informed her she could talk on her, yes. And the quote is by Aesop, as in Aesop's Fables. I did not know that, Jill. Okay, it's also in a coloring book or two that you've seen somewhere. I like that. Okay, so I did not know that that's where that came from. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. That is so true. Okay, this is way too dark is what I'm getting. I want to try and get a little bit lighter with my pink here. That is sort of hard to do with this fuchsia because it's such a strong color. Although the fuchsia is so pretty that it's hard not to just want to go overboard. You wouldn't think that I am particularly a fan of sort of that hot lavender or violet color, because that's really what that is. That's more of a red violet than it is a pink, more of a hot pink. I do love Inktense though. I mean, just look at how pretty that just is. It's just like, you just run your water brush over it and it gets this nice sort of strong vibrance, yummy color. Ah, yes, it is a nice crowd. These are wonderful people. These are absolutely wonderful folks that come and watch and enjoy, um, hopefully, and hopefully our Inktense fans as well. Uh, as a matter of fact, I'm not sure that I added the Inktense links into my description, but I will. Um, if you are among those that has never tried them, they are in fact my favorite medium. I did use the Sergeant Arts last week, but I'll usually find any excuse, and I don't need too many excuses to come back to my Inktense because they are my favorites. Although do have to say that I do like those sorts of. I like the of course I love my Prismacolors and the deli pencils, which are the sort of like the polychromos. Uh, but I am really liking those Sergeant Arts Supremes. I just like the way they feel. Uh, it would be nice to have some new colors, Kathy. I agree. Now, of course, there are, and I am guilty because I never get it out, and I should, but there are 5 additional, or 7 actually, additional colors that I do have um, in a pan set. And I just keep forgetting that I have it. And I could get it out. Right here. This is the Intense, this is travel pan set. But in here are, and I think in my book, and I think either Kenny or Melody might have sent this. I'd have to check my log. I do have a log, things that get sent to me. And so I would know. Where is it? I think I'm, oh, there it is. Because the Inktense used to be right here, and I ended up having to move it. So these are the colors that are in this set. Like, you know, the kiwi is a fascinating color. The teal green. I always forget, or actually teal green is in the other set as well. But the dark plum, the mango, the dark plum, the racing green, the kiwi, the burnt yellow ochre are all new to this set. So they're not in the 72. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, actually, because the mid ultramarine isn't either. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Natural brown also isn't in that other set. So this is absolutely wonderful. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So there's 7 colors here. And then there is a second travel pan set that's got even more colors in it. And yeah. Yeah, I was confused there on the brown for a second because there is a natural gray. But yeah, so. And this even comes with its own little water brush. So I guess I could leave that out just in case. Just in case there's something that we decide that we want to include. But I mean, the thing about Inktense is there's just no color that you can't make. If you just use a couple of different colors together, you can get pretty much every other color of the rainbow. And so I never sweat too much when somebody doesn't, you know, if a set only has 36 colors or whatever, you can often, if you know anything at all about mixing colors together, you know, what colors make what colors, you can mix colors and get an endless variety. So, okay, Thomas, see ya and have a good week. We'll see you next Sunday. Pads on stocks. Pads on stocks. I missed the question. Jill, I missed the question. And I'm looking for the answer. I'm looking for what about Asa? Okay. I've missed it, Jill. I apologize. Last time I followed a Dutch workshop about mixing colors. What are the pods on stems? They're usually seeds. The pods on stems are, oh, here. Oh. Are you talking about my picture? What are the pods on stems? Well, they could be anything you want them to be. It's like, wait a minute, I think I just figured it out. I have seen these colored in every different way. Uh, I mean, a lot of people will color them like they're a bee. Uh, so they use black ink and, make them obviously shiny. Um, or they could be anything. I mean, literally, they could be anything. Are you laughing, Christina? Yes, I see them on other pictures. Yeah, they're just seed pods, or uh, imagine an imaginary cattail. You know what a cattail looks like, right? A reed, a cattail reed. Imagine that they're a imaginary cattail reed. They don't actually exist. Well, maybe they do. I don't know. Somewhere in the world they could exist. They came out of my head. You mean in relation to the fact that this is a flower and this is a leaf? Yeah, that's a seed pod. She can laugh. I completely get it. I would laugh. No, they're not. They're not a particular. Jill, I mean, yeah, how long have you known me now? Do I ever insist on realism? Oh, excuse me. Realism is fine. It just doesn't suit me very well. I like things that don't exist, like multicolored flowers like this. I mean, you would never see this particular flower in nature, right? But it exists in my world. Trying to keep my hand out of the shadow there. I'm getting a little bit better at getting a little bit lighter here in the center. And a lot of that is that I've worked a flat spot onto the pencil tip. Um, you tend to make them gems. Exactly. Exactly, Melody. And so they are whatever it is that you see. If you want them to be uh, like flat type striped leaves, they could be that, or they could be seed pods. I have a tendency to make them round. Melody makes them gems, so they can be anything at all that you want them to be. That art has, art. It's just however you see it, and you know, one of the things that I love is when somebody takes a realistic portrait. Let's say they take a realistic portrait and they color it in all one shade, or maybe green and blue. Maybe it's a person or a dog or whatever. And instead they're coloring the light and the dark values in different colors of the same shade, or different colors of the same color, but none of them are realistic. It's I think that it has to do with also how people's minds are ordered. There are just some people who simply cannot wrap their head around unrealistic colors. They might like a work that is done in colors that are abstract, but they don't know how to get there. I'm kind of one of those. Um, when I look at it, I see realistic colors, And it isn't until I break it down into littler pieces, like for instance, just just the flame in the center, just the outside of the leaf, just this part, that I can then play with color that isn't normal. And yet I've still used colors that regularly occur on flowers, leaves, and stems. So, and of course, I look at a lot of art, and once again, going right back to where I started, this was sort of me, making an attempt to, to sort of mimic the style of Marty Woods. At the time, I needed to, obviously, I couldn't possibly copy Marty. He's too good. Uh, and I wouldn't want to begin with, but I could do something in that style that was just all my own. And so that's what this particular drawing was. Just me playing one day, and having fun and creating something that that I thought was cute. And boy, I've made a meal out of this flower. It's been almost 2 hours it's taken me to color this. Of course, I did talk for about the first, 20 minutes. So, and let's see, the center, I think can be also the pink. Only we'll go around the outside like this. Because these are just leaves or petals that are closed, right? So I'm just wetting the inside. Tap up a little bit. There we go. And voila, one flower. And then I'll come back in and I'll do it. I'll do the, do like gel pen and bling it out and all of that. And you guys, I know that Jo Beth isn't going to be on. She is here, as a matter of fact. And Jo Beth, please know that I certainly am thinking of you. Jo Beth is experiencing some pain with her back and a very poor night's sleep, so she wasn't going to live stream today. So I'm gonna, if that's okay with everybody, I'm just gonna continue on. So if you would like to stay, you're perfectly welcome to do so. On the other hand, if you've got someplace that you have to be, I will also completely understand that. But right this very second, I need to go trade some of that coffee that I've been drinking for a new batch. And I will be right back. Shara, oh, you'd already done that. That's the same one, right? Because you know that it won't let you do that multiple times. You sweet lady. I will be right back. Okay. All right. Actually, wait a second. One more second. Okay. Wow, that is awfully close. Shara is. You just want to do. You just want to see me cry, don't you? Yeah. Remember that. Remember the last time that didn't work. I just wanted to say I've been previous witness to Shara being so generous like that. She's just amazing. Now you are gonna make me cry. Hang on one second here. Hang on, I got it. I'll be right back. Okay, now I am back. Boy, I just had to go look at my I just had to go look out the window for a second. Shara. Oh, Chip meeting Marley again. Oh, yay. Yeah, no, you didn't break me, but Shara, wow. Okay. Yeah. I'll talk to you later. How about that? you and I gonna talk, man. Thank you, honey. Okay. I was just looking out the window, and my neighbor is an enterprising soul. The house across the street is a rental, and the guy who owns the house, despite the fact that it has forced air conditioning, right? It has forced air, heat, and air conditioning. He has never fixed it. And so the family across the street has really been suffering with window air conditioning the all summer long. And it has gotten so hot, of course, in staying so hot overnight that sleeping is miserable. So he just put up a mosquito net tent in the front yard, and the whole family is out there sitting in lounge chairs because the mosquitoes are so bad this year. Also, because we've had lots of water, it's the rainy season, and all of that. Oh, yay. Okay, so storms have finally passed through the county. All right, good. And no hurricanes touched down, and Melinda's still got power. And yay, it is just that time of year, isn't it, Melinda? I know we are getting these flash flood storms every afternoon. I have never typically associated Virginia with monsoons, but we are sure getting them. This needs a little something. This needs a little something something. I'm thinking it needs a little of the cadmium orange. Might as well not change colors in the middle of the stream here, but I want to just add a little of the cadmium orange in here. On the yellow, because I just am not unhappy, or I'm not entirely happy with how stark that is. So you can always, layer Inktense as long as you let it dry in between. You can always add more color. It will not, because once it's down, it won't disturb what's underneath it. So you can add more water to it. Just sort of smear it a little bit so that it blends in. What's that cream cheese that they say, the chamelier? Over there. Hopefully you can see that. And it just adds a nice little finishing touch to that particular area. And thank you, Barb. And 4 a.m. you're going to watch in bed, so you won't be chatting. Okay. Melody, you are just such a blessing. Thank you for being here, and thank you for staying up and or setting an alarm. And yes, a bagel and a schmear. That's it. Yeah, exactly, Jill. Jill, please don't beat you up, Li. I know. Okay. All right. All right, Shara. See, that's, you guys are amazing. I mean, Jamie, my neighbor, passing on a blessing that he received, uh, or, paying forward a blessing. And his is, I can tell you what it is. He has, after years of being with somebody who did not treat him well, he kind of saw the light uh, and traded that particular boyfriend in on a new one. And the new one has a hookup at a grocery store where he gets a lot of food that they're not able to donate, but that would otherwise go in the trash can. Fruits, perishable items like fruits and veggies. Sadly, they are not able to donate those in a timely fashion to a food bank. So those end up going in the grocery store, in the trash can, even though they might be, just 1 or 2 days away from having to be thrown away because they're turning. But they've reached their sell-by date, and once they reach their sell-by date, they cannot be donated. So So he brought, there was a bunch of it, and he brought some of it to me. And that's why it was critical that I got it frozen by Monday, because the risk of liability if someone gets sick and sues. Exactly. And 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 that's exactly why they can't do it. But the food is still perfectly edible for at least, another 24 to 48 hours, because, fruit can actually turn like, on a dime. So dependent upon the temperature. So, but I mean, like I said, I've got a gallon bag now full of blueberries, raspberries, and cut up strawberries, and it's in my freezer. It's not going to go to waste. I can use it in smoothies, or I've actually been pouring it on a bowl of cereal. Just take a little bit of it, and by the time you add the milk and get around to eating it at the bottom of the bowl, it's all thawed out, and actually it helps keep the milk cold. So I like it. All right, so now let's add a little greens. We'll add some greens, and we'll maybe do a nice, we don't want the light olive. We'll do a nice burn, and maybe a nice, I want to use a leaf green, wherever my leaf green is. Okay, so actually we'll pull the light olive as well. So I'll come out from under here and down one side with sort of a heavy coat of the light olive, because I want that to be the darkest part. And then I don't think I need the green. I think I'll go straight to the fern like that. And then when I add the water, I'm going to go across up there and then come up from the light and sort of let that fade down so that it makes a nice sharp shadow right there, so that it actually looks like the light is hitting this and creating a nice sharp shadow right there. So just like that. And since Jill was curious about these, let's go ahead and do those now. They could be any colors that we wanted. Let's assume for a moment that they are going to be browns and let's go with a willow brown and maybe a I'll go with the willow brown and maybe the amber. That's the tan. Yeah, maybe the willow brown, the tan, and the, since we're already using it, the sun yellow. Is that this? Yes. Okay. You all know that that's my favorite combination, right? Okay, so I'm gonna actually pull an even lighter yellow. This is the cadmium yellow. So I'm gonna come up the center with the cad yellow. And I'm actually making a kind of like an eye, and then just putting a very light coat. Then I've got, start back here with the brown. I'm going to come around the edges. And just, assuming that the light is sort of coming from over here, that's going to make this sort of a little bit darker since it's away from the light. And this is actually a little bit lighter. So I'll grab the tan, whoops, and come up from there. So that'll be the part that's base, because I've already established that the light is sort of coming from up there or over there. So we use a little bit of the tan to sort of soften, that's how it's spelled, soften that, and or soften the brown, and then to go with the sun yellow sort of in that transition, still paying attention to that eye that you drew in the middle, which is where your highlight is. And so now, hopefully, and this is something to guard against, guys. Here, I should share it. You really are going to break me. Now stop it. Okay. So this is the thing you want to guard against, guys. Shara, thank you. When you put your lid back on your water brush, try and be sure that you get it centered right so that you're not brushing back any of your bristles. Because what happened just now is that I had brushed back some of those bristles, and it was actually, it meant that my brush wasn't coming to a point. And when you try and use it that way, you're going to end up smearing your color in places where you don't want it. You are just bound and determined to break me, aren't you? The water company and the power, because that's who's getting that. Okay, so all right, so then I just go straight up to the center. Now that looks kind of all one, one color in the middle so far, but as it dries, that'll lighten back up. And then I'm going to make the outer rings black or dark brown, whichever the case may be, these rings that circle. And I'll also keep the, and I think it'll probably be dry before the time to go, and I'll be able to do that. I know you do, my dear, and I love you too, and you know that. The Church of Color with Judy B. Hello, Judy B. How are you? And hello to anybody who has come into the room that I have not personally acknowledged. Sue, hi. And sweet coriander too. Yes, I do actually buy cat food before I buy anything else. Cat food and flea goo are the two things that always get purchased before I eat. Um, and then, then we eat, and then, now I will say that although my next door neighbor and I are not speaking, she is a cat person. And so if push ever came to shove, even though we don't actually speak to each other, and she's mad at me because I let the trees in my backyard get overgrown. And I do that because I enjoy the birds and the bird nests. She is one of those who wants a perfectly manicured yard that, where nothing is taller than fence height and everything is trimmed to the nines. And I am a little more wild and free with my backyard. I want it to look, like a bird sanctuary. And indeed it does. So that is her issue with me. But I also know that if I ever had to, I'd show up at her door and I'd say, "Can I borrow a cup of cat food?" And she would say, "Absolutely." So I don't worry about coriander. But I will tell you that I did, although I promised myself I wouldn't, Melinda, I did open that last copy without having a backup. And that is one thing that Jamie has not come forth with. Yeah, that's funny. Uh, that young man, I'm telling you what, everybody, everybody is just so amazing, just amazing people, amazing world we live in. This is the tan. And of course, Congress is still choosing or deciding or delaying or whatever, politicking about what's going to happen next. I just hope that everybody comes out of all of this intact. I think there's a lot of people who are really, really in a lot of pain right now. Financially, mentally. There's a lot of people aren't built like I am. I am built for solitude. I love it. I'll guard it. I'll I like my solitude, but I know that there are people that aren't built for it, and for those folks, I worry. I really do worry. Okay. My friend Suri and I had that conversation just the other day because she was a nurse in a mental care facility for years, and she says she's pretty concerned about folks turning to the wrong forms of entertainment. All right, so that one went a little bit smoother and a little bit better color. Bye, Corolla. And thank you, sweetheart, for coming. And hugs and all that kind of good stuff. And hi to Baloo and Gizmo. Who are the cats? Beautiful cats. Corolla has two absolutely gorgeous cats. Okay, so let's see. And now this one can be a little bit darker because it is down here in the depths of, so it's going to have maybe some brown there for the shadow. Whoops. I should be more careful because my little, let's see. What have I done with all my, there they are. Things like erasers. Okay. I want to erase that right there because that shouldn't be like that. That part needs to be a little bit lighter. So that should be the tan because the light is going to be hitting that. So go back here to the brown for this underside. Okay, and okay, now there's that. Then the gold. See, this one is just a little bit darker because it is, yeah, that's the sun yellow. Maybe a little bit of the cat. And then I'm going to, when I do this one, I am going to work it like this all the way down. So it is going to be darker all the way around because it's buried back in here, sort of in the back and in the shadows. I could catch the correction on that, where I went a little bit over the edge. I do a background on this. So now, okay, we've got some more of these. Let's do this one, and maybe we want this one to be blues. But maybe brighter blues and just blues. So we'll do maybe a peacock blue and an iris blue. Will that work? Let's see. As familiar as I am with my Inktense, I am always going to use my swatch book. I actually want the sea blue, not the peacock blue. Well, yeah, no, I actually do want the peacock blue. Okay, see, so that is a very, very blue, and the iris is a much lighter blue. So I think those are a good combination. Now this one, I think we are just going to make the top one iris blue. Well, actually, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go with the peacock blue toward the center. And I'll show you what I'm going to, well, I'm going to try it. I don't know if it's going to work or not. So you go the peacock blue toward the center. And, oh, your back is killing you. Yoga time. Okay. All right. Yeah, I know, Cheryl, I know that you've been having a tough time as well. With pain. And so blessings to you, sweetheart. And I hope that that laying down actually gives you some relief from it. I'll tell you what, I realized just how out of shape I am when I was out trying to cut down those trees in front of that Verizon box to let, or bushes and little saplings. Um, I didn't have any trouble sawing down the trees at all because I used my arms a fair amount um, for exercise and carrying heavy buckets around and doing stuff like that. Um, but I had completely not realized how winded I got when trying to do anything sustained, like chopping down a whole bunch of foliage um, in the heat. I just kept saying to myself, how do you eat an elephant? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So, I'd take off 2 branches and then I'd stop to catch my breath. And then I'd take off another 2 branches and I'd stop to catch my breath. And then I'd take down the trunk and stop for a second. And then because I could cut the trunk up, because you have to cut everything into 4-foot sections for the trash guy to take it. So I can bend over with no problem at all. So that was good. And then of course if you've got a good sharp saw and you let the saw do the work, then it's not really that arduous a task to saw things in half, or saw things in pieces. But nonetheless, it was just a real reminder that I am 61 years old and not in as good a shape as my 30-year-old self used to be. That said, things could be a whole lot worse, so I'm just glad that I am able to do anything at all. Uh, the heat plus the humidity gets the best of us. Yes. I have a tip. If me, don't take your meds for some reason, they don't work. Yes, Daryl Lynn, you have to remember to take your meds. But I know what you mean. Uh, Actually, one of the things that I have been really sort of paying attention to with all of this homestead movement thing that's gone on is the number of folks who are making their own medicines. And of course, we realize that most pharmacology isn't chemical. It is actually, uh, it is actually natural materials or natural items that people have just forgotten either how to grow or how to process or all of that. So it's interesting. And I'm not talking about, your life-saving cancer drugs or anything like that. I'm talking about simple herbs and spices and teas that work for pain and itching and uh, blood pressure and various things like that. So like the digitalis, which is a heart medication, is foxglove. I mean, it's which a lot of us grow in our yards. I grow foxglove. You don't want to eat it, uh, but that's what it's made out of. That's why it's called digitalis foxglove. I like this one. Yes, Absolutely, Thomas. Are you actually in a wheelchair? And yes, I am glad I'm not in a wheelchair. And hopefully, Thomas, you have use of your upper limbs and can propel your. Otherwise, um, I know it can be very frustrating to have to wait, and hopefully, you've got electronic and all of that. It's just amazing what they can do with technology these days. Even folks with profound injury or profound health conditions are at least a little more mobile, if not, not, obviously perfectly able to live independent lifestyles. My grandfather, oh, he was just, he lost a leg in World War II, and he never was able to get used to a prosthetic. Of course, they didn't have the kind of technology for prosthesis that they do now, and he just always found it far too uncomfortable. So he could use crutches, but he preferred his wheelchair. So I think because it meant that my grandmother had to wait on him. Excuse me. I've been doing pretty good today. I haven't had very much, very much coughing and not a lot of throat clearing, and so, yay, there is that. At least it's not humid and icky and sticky and all of that in the house like it was last week. I say that, of course, as I'm about to have a coughing fit. Yeah, I'm really liking the way that these blues are sort of come together. This is the peacock blue and the iris blue. And so you see, sorry, what I'm doing is I'm just, oops, if I can come the right direction. I'm just starting in the middle. Actually, that's not what I had done. Let me mute you for a second. Okay, that is just a little better. Okay, so let's see if I can figure out what I'd done. So I started at the dark, worked to the light, started at the dark, worked to the light, and then kind of brought them together. That seems to be the optimum. And I'm really just sort of tapping with the brush, and then just bringing that center together a little bit. I hope that will work out when it's dry. Oops, as I'm threatening to go off screen one more time. The one thing I have been very proud of myself over this last few months is that other than actually probably I don't think it's been 2 years yet, but it's pretty close. Other than direct outages where my internet is actually down or I have failed to get a live connection, I have been here every single Sunday. So that is one thing I do like, because I mean I realize there are a couple people who kind of like it that I come on Sundays, and so I try very hard to be as accommodating as I can and not make excuses for not being here. Not that and that came out completely wrong. Not that I'm saying anybody makes excuses for not showing up, but it's easy sometimes to just say, I'd really like a day off, or I haven't had a day off all week. Maybe I should just today. But no, not happening. Okay, so now I do want to pull in an orange. I don't. It could actually be that CAD orange, which I've been using, but I don't think it would hurt to go tangerine. Tangerine is just slightly brighter. And so I want to not necessarily, because I still want this to be primarily blue. So what I'm going to do is I want these tongues to be orange. Excuse me. This bright orange color. I still want these out here to be peacock blue, I think. Although they almost should be a different color. Reason being, of course, that they will get lost against. Yeah, I think we're still gonna stick with the orange for the center, and I want these to be very bright. So I am laying down quite a bit of pigment on the little tongues, because, and I could just as easily do these with marker, rather than the Inktense. As a matter of fact, I could just as easily do this whole piece with marker. So if you've got markers, if you like a color scheme or something, don't feel like you have to use that particular medium that the artist or the colorist used. You can use your own medium and just mimic their colors. If that's what you like about it, you can, do blending with your markers just like this. You don't have to have Inktense to do that. Once again, I just encourage everybody to find your favorite medium, find your, a picture that you like, and just make it your own. Just simply make it you. And the artist who drew it is going to see it and love it no matter what you've done. Because to us, the joy isn't in how well it was colored. The joy is in that you colored it at all. You know what I mean? Somebody thought enough of my work to want to spend their time with it and, and execute something that they see. And that is just so amazingly gratifying. You have no idea. And that's another thing that my channel shout out this week is to Roots and Refuge. And I mean, these are not small channels, guys. These are huge, gigantic, 100,000 follower channels. So it's not like I'm discovering these little channels and, bringing them to you to promote them or whatever. I'm telling you that these guys have just absolutely astounding information. If you, like me, are a little bit worried about what tomorrow is going to be doing, you know, as as far as, you know, will we or won't we? Okay, so now, all right, so this was the peacock blue and the iris blue, but I do want to maybe pull in this, because I want to try and keep some color cohesiveness, but I also need to make these bottom ones different enough from that blue to where they stand out, but not so far away. Maybe the sea blue will do it. Let's try it. Let's try it. Still a different blue, but it'll also still let's do a couple of them and we'll figure it out and see how it goes. If we don't like it, we can change it to something else. And the human eye won't even see that that's what we did. Unless, of course, we are specifically looking for it. Okay, so keeping it dark up there and then just sort of working down a little bit lighter there so that it's in the same family but gives a little bit of depth and definition to that particular flower petal. And that's the iris blue. Oops. Sea blue. I think I'm going to like that. I think that I am going to like that quite a bit. Has just a little bit of the green in it. Enough to make it different. Not bad. How do you feel about your art in glitter gel pens? Well, I like it. I mean, once again, I like anything that you guys do. Now, keeping in mind that I have, and of course I use liberally my glitter gel pens, and I have these gorgeous ones all myself or all my own. I'd say I feel pretty good about it. Okay, guys, I need to dash off to pay another installment of rent on my coffee. I'll be right back. Oh, okay. There we go. That's much better. Otherwise, you were about to hear my chair start to squeak. As I was doing the dance. What kind? Well, I have the ColorIt gel pens, which are all the multicolors. Then I have the hybrids, the dual, the hybrid dual metallics. Now, these are actually true metallic gel pens. So I use these when I want a really bright pop of glitter. And then I use the others when I want just a sheen. And you can really see the differences. I do have to say that I love the Arteza metallic gouache. This is a swap or a blah, blah, blah. This is a swatch of the colors that I have. Comes in a set of, I believe it's 24, is that right? No, 4, 8, 8, and 8, 16. 16 colors, I believe. Or no, actually it's 12. Yeah, it's 12, and then these are combos that I made. Sorry. But let me tell you about metallics. Let's go off on a side trip here. Okay, these are my Pearl X Pigments metallics. Now these are, and there's actually, it is to date my most popular video ever, where I show how to make watercolor paint using Pearl X Pigment and gum arabic. And so when I want to do large swaths of metallics, I use my that I made. I use my metallic pigments. But when I just want to do little sections, I will very often use the hybrid dual metallics when I want something very bright. Now, if I don't want something that bright, then I will go to no, that's not it. Then I will go to the acrylic paint marker, and those have a very pretty, but it's silver, a very pretty glittery sheen in all these really cool colors. And then of course you can, because this is translucent, you can change up the color of the underlaying color by layering something underneath it. So if you put a red under this coppery yellow orange, it'll change the color. And so you've got that option. And then you've got the true glitter gel pens from ColorIt, free your creativity. And these are all the colors, and these are the swatches that correspond with those. So they're not, to me, these are not super shiny. But they are shiny enough. And they do come in an awful lot of colors. So that is very cool. So I hope that answers your question. Depends upon what kind of it depends upon what I'm trying to do with it, Sue. What kind I use. So Shara she is so very kind. She's amazing. And bye, Joe Beth. And honey, I hope you feel better. Um, and yeah, I hope that you get some relief and a good night's sleep free of a barking dog. When hopefully your neighbors will be home soon and can take care of that. That's got to be a drag. You take it all the way out there in Arizona, you wouldn't have to deal with that kind of thing. But I guess it proves that it doesn't matter how remote you are, thoughtless neighbors are still thoughtless neighbors. Letting their dog bark until 3 o'clock in the morning. So did that answer your question, Sue? You're welcome. 3 rescue, yes. So she does. She's got 3 adorable dogs. And boy, do they make a racket when somebody comes anywhere near that front door. Which is good. Means Sharon never has to worry about anybody sneaking up on her. I was listening to, it was a while back, and Mrs. Coffey had put up a video, and she was talking about her landlord had used his key to come in without without permission, and of course she was home, and so were her dogs. She has a I want to say he's a Malamute or a Husky. He might be a Husky. So she's got a Husky and a German Shepherd. I imagine the guy would think twice before trying to enter her apartment again. Of course, anybody who tries to sneak up on me doesn't know that I probably keep at bare minimum, at least a 9-iron behind every door. 9-iron or a baseball bat, one of the two. I used to keep weapons, but I moved to Washington, D.C. for a brief time, and you're not allowed to have them there. So when I moved from Nevada, I sold them all. I never needed them. I've always been good with either a baseball bat, and I swing a wicked 9-iron. My favorite exercise has always been rowing. So, and when I was a kid, it was skating. I used to love to ice skate. Which is why I know I'm so out of shape now. Because I can get down on the ground, I just can't get back up. Not without, and maybe some of you are familiar with this. You have to roll over and push yourself up with your arms so that you can get a knee under you So then you can grab onto something with your arm and then pull yourself up. In other words, I look very much like a beached whale. Uh, I'm just sort of in my Zen place, guys. Is that okay? Two tiny yappers and a big giant boy who sheds like crazy. Except you had both knees replaced. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, I know that. I know that that can be such painful surgery. Did it help though, Barb? That is the answer. That is the question. Did it help? I mean, once the healing was all done and all of that. 3 to 4 times a day, and your Dyson gets working. Yes, it did. Okay, good. Um, my friend, her husband, who is our age. Actually, I shouldn't say. He's my age. I think he might be a year or two younger. Uh, he's 8 years younger than her, and she is I think 5 years older than me. So he would be 3 years younger. All right. But he just had to have an ankle replaced. And so I can relate. I consider myself among the very blessed to not have. I mean, I truly don't have any, um, you know, any anything to complain about health wise, except being, uh, short of breath, which is something that I've sort of dealt with all of my life, uh, because of the damage to my lungs when I was a kid. But as far as daily pain goes, I just, knock on wood. My aunt, boy, she had bad knees. Um, I mean, by the time she was my age that I am now, she was already having real trouble. Yeah, chronic pain. It's just, well, I told you that my one of my nephew's wives, uh, she went to school originally to become an RN, and then she went on to become a physician's assistant with a specialty in pain management. And and I, I was so concerned about her at that point. Now, of course, she had every reason to. She's an RA sufferer, and so obviously, I think she was learning, about pain management, for others as well as for herself. But that is a mentally tough job, because you are dealing with folks for whom, um, there is no other answer, oftentimes, or that are dealing with a permanent, debilitating, and oftentimes life-threatening, illness of some kind. And so, that I just can't imagine. It's just like the doctors on the front line with this virus. You know, when you I keep thinking about that one doctor's or article that I read. Who, you know, she's a neurology student at a hospital, and she's been pulled into the COVID-19 ward, and you know, and writes very eloquently about the experience. Uh, but man, I'll tell you what, it'll break your heart. You wonder, you know, about the mental health of you know, our healthcare professionals through all of this, really through any kind of, you know, look at Beirut right now with all of the people who are hurt or missing, or, you know, and all because it got overlooked of destroying a warehouse full of contraband, you know. Yeah. Your knees were shot because of all the sports. Yeah. When in pain, it's so hard to focus on anything else. Yeah, well, and that, I think that is absolutely true, Shara. It is, you know, and I've heard that really over and over again, that coloring is so beneficial for those who are in pain, because it gives the mind something to focus on other than the pain. And that also, I find that interesting in and of itself, because, you know, the mind, the human mind, is very interesting as far uh, as pain receptors go. Um, and I think one of the most important things that people forget is that not everybody experiences pain in the same way, and that you can't know what somebody else is going through. Um, because the only thing that you have to relate it to is the way that you yourself experience pain, which may be entirely different than the way another person does. You know, and case in point, on my arm right now is this. Now, I have a really high threshold for pain. So I didn't even notice when I ripped a hole in my arm, basically, when I was sawing the branches, until my neighbor kind of came rushing over and said, "What have you done to your arm?" And I realized that I was quite literally dripping blood. But you know what? It never hurt. It still never hurt. So I might not have, you know, I might just have a high tolerance for pain, which is why I don't suffer any. Um, and that's a good thing, at least for me. So I'm just working in various, you know, various values of this green in here, um, just to give it some interest, some, you know, sort of visual interest as it goes along. And get FLMA due to your chronic pain making work so difficult, and you have a sedentary job. I don't know what FMLA is, but I'm guessing that it is something that that is helping. Uh, yes. Yeah. Oh, Barbara. Yes. And the caregivers. Yes. Caregivers all over for all, you know. Well, y'all know that I had to, you know, for my stepmom and for my stepmom, because we promised her that she could stay in her own home. And I couldn't go live there. And I'm just not geared for it. I'm not wired to, oh, the family, oh, the Federal Medical Leave Act. Okay. Uh, yeah, I'm not built, I'm not wired for caregiving. Um, and so was able to make another arrangement. And I had an absolutely incredible human being who was able to care for my stepmother. Talk about selfless. My goodness, I couldn't even get the guy to take a vacation. He got as far as his destination once and turned around and got on the plane because he couldn't stand to leave her. So I finally ended up having to, I said, well, Marcos, you've got to take a vacation. And he said, well, can I take her with me? So the first year, he had to take us both with him. Because I also wasn't about to let her go off, to some strange place that I didn't know of, not able to communicate her needs. So, I mean, I might not be able to, I might not be wired to have the patience, but it certainly didn't mean I didn't care. They were actually able to make that trip 2 years running. Got to go to New Mexico, and that's where I had my first bowl of real green chili soup. Oh, and it was to die for. Yum, yum, yum. And now you get an extra 8 hours a week off. Not great on the paycheck, but it's still helpful. Yeah. Some people really are. I was, and at first, because Jim, my Jim, one of the things that he had promised. Wait a second here. Hello. Oh, that's because it's gray, Christine. I'm like, where did all the color go? Maybe if you chose the right pen, Christine. How about you choose the black one and not the gray one? Um, if she chose him, and he came down to interview Marcos with me, because I was like, well, I don't know who this guy is. I've never met him. And yet Ellen picked him. And she was right. She picked the right person. This was when she could still communicate and she was still ambulatory at that point in time. So you see, if you add just that little bit of black banding with the little bit of light that shows in between, how suddenly it goes from being, being sort of an idea of a curved object to actually being a cylindrically shiny object. Oh, Melinda, you are a woman after my own heart. I used to absolutely detest that they wanted us to go home at 5 o'clock. I'm like, no. A, traffic doesn't even clear until 7. So at least let me work until 7. No, of course you don't have to pay me overtime. I just am enjoying the work. That was back when there were still salaried exempt employees. Now, unfortunately, if you're not an executive of the company, they consider you an hourly employee. That drives me crazy. Okay, so where are we? Oh my goodness. We are at 5:12. So I've already been on, what, 3.5 hours? Melinda, can you get short-term disability for the 8 hours? Huh. Okay. All right, so let's see where we are on this. Considered intermittent leave, you can't get anything like that. I know that they do have, between the states and all of that, they have all sorts of interesting. Now I did check in Virginia, and boy, I'll tell you what, I just miss qualifying for anything. Because I don't have kids, so there's programs where I can't get in that. It's just, it's just. So I make art. I make art, and I have lovely, wonderful, incredibly generous friends. Okay, what is next? I'm liking the way that this is coming out so far. I think so. At that, I wanted to be a sort of it's not one color, but it's not as stark a difference in coloration as that one. And so I think that if I do So this is containing basically all of the colors that I'm going to use. So a pink, a blue, a green, and orange. So I use my blues here, even a blue-green, even though it was different than a blue-green. Here it's still a blue-green. Here is the golden. I'm going to do this. And let's see if we can, I don't want to say speed up the process, but at this particular moment, let's mix up a medium. Whoops, sorry. I was looking at Inktense and I wanted to be looking at CLAldridgeArt. So let's look at orange, which is 608, and Charisse, which is 605, or Vivid Pink. I think Vivid Pink is too much. I think I want Charisse, which is the 605. All right. Or cerise, actually, is what that is. There is no H in that. So let's see if we can speed it up. We'll make it a much quicker flower. I don't know about any of you, but I'm actually starting to get a little hungry. So I don't know how much longer I am going to be able to last here. I have a half an avocado and the last of the head of lettuce that needs to be eaten, along with another chunk of, or another, because I made another summer salad since I had more cucumbers, which is basically just cucumbers, onions, and peppers chopped up in a pickle, light sweet pickle, which is vinegar and water and sugar. Uh-oh, that was a leaf. Uh-oh. Shame on you, Christine. You messed it up. Oh no, you'll have to throw the book away. No, you won't. Because you know what? Mistakes in your coloring books, guys, aren't fatal. You've got a garden fresh gazpacho and cucumber sandwich for dinner. Oh my goodness. That sounds so good. I mean, but that's kind of very much like what I'm having. I'm having an avocado salad with cucumbers, with an avocado salad with cucumber on top, cucumber salad on top. Yeah, all right. And so I want this to be the pink. So let's do this. That's keeping in mind that is a little dark right now because it's wet. We'll see how this first round dries up, and then we'll know whether or not this is the right color for a next one. We can always add some shading in. All right, so we will let that dry. Bye, Mona. Dinner is ready. Bye, everyone. Stay safe and thank you for streaming. Oh, thank you so much, dear. It's lovely to get to share my Sunday with you and you to share your Sunday with me. Oh, gazpacho. It's a cold blended soup, Daryl Lynn. And you can make gazpacho with just about anything. There are probably official recipes for it, but it's basically cold pureed vegetable soup, usually based with cucumber of some kind, I think, and or maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of cold cucumber soup. But I guess the point really is that eating out of the garden at this time of the year is just one of the most. I think I am going to continue on with the regular fuchsia for that. That is fine, but it's not ultimately what I want. So I think I'll just leave that as the top and maybe go with a little bit different with the fuchsia. Although we'll see. I'll do a second row of the fuchsia, and we'll see how that works out. But that this is because not every meal has to have meat. Although I could easily thaw out one of those salmon fillets, but I just don't want to. I don't want to smell up the house with fish. I would rather wait and I always like to be prepared to do fish because I want to do it on a Tuesday night so that Wednesday the trash comes and takes the fish skin and the all of that away. Bad enough that I'm going to stink up the house by making fish, even though it's baked fish or broiled fish. And I don't want to drag the barbecue out of the shed because that would mean I'd have to cut down more trees. The barbecue, because I just have a little hibachi, and it's in the shed, and there's a tree growing in front of the door. Just fine by me because I don't need anything in that shed. Coriander would love the smell, I know. She'd actually love a little. Obviously I will. I pretty much share every meal with her anyway. at least a bite. Um, there are some things, obviously, that just aren't good for her, but otherwise, there are some things that are not bad. All right, so I like that. I may go just a step darker purple for the next one. Um, so if I was going to use Inktense, what would be that step? And can I get there? Yes, thistle or mauve. Probably thistle. And then the last one, mauve. So let's try that. So we'll use thistle here, which is a little slightly darker along the purple line than the fuchsia. So you can do that. Also, it doesn't always have to be, blending or whatever. Sometimes you can just, you got something that's multiple layers and you want to have it show depth, make the bottom layer your darkest and then get progressively lighter with the color, even if you're straight coloring. It's a way of adding some depth without, having to futz around with a bunch of color shading and, all of that. So there's a gajillion ways to get a gajillion results. And one of the most gratifying things in the world is when I put up a "Hello, Jane." And yes, it does seem ages since you've been here. Um, but one of the most gratifying things is to put up a picture and see all the different ways that people interpret it. And I mean, where, for instance, these, some people might see seed pods, some people might see cattails, some people might see, I don't know, whatevers. Um, red pill, blue pill. You choose. Little Matrix reference there. One of my absolute favorite movies of all time. Okay. So, yeah. So that is, so there's the purple. And then if you do the last layer, do an even darker purple. And I've heard that. I've heard that, Sue. Um, that you can really, that they really are good for, for a variety of things. I don't happen to have one. um, let's see here. What do I want? What purple do I want to go with? Do I want to go with the mauve or the Yeah, I think it's going to have to be the mauve. You're here, Ella. You got up watching. Christina forgot to leave. I love that. I got I got so caught up watching you, I forgot to leave. Shara, my dear, we really will have to talk. Thank you so much for your generosity. And uh, uh, you just leave me speechless, my dear. You do. Between you and Melody and all the other folks, you know, you just, I just don't believe there are such good people in the world, but yet you all exist. Despite what happens in this world, there are good people in it. There are, or as my friend Mark Perlman said, see, Christine, there are good people. There are good humans. Okay. Yeah, I'm liking that. Okay. So now let's see as we go one step darker what happens with this. And then I really will wrap it up and we'll all go eat our food and walk our pets. And may you this week call that person that you've been meaning to call, that you haven't. Don't put it off because you just never know. Stay safe, stay healthy. Stay safe and don't risk anybody else's life. How about that? As well. And maybe we'll all have a better week. Or maybe at least a less newsworthy week. Next week. Unless it's good news. At which point in time, spread it around and tell everybody your good news because we all could use some. Okay, so that is, I mean, it'll need to dry, but that is different enough from that, you know, I'm not thrilled with that bright pink. I may yet change that to something different. At this point in time, I could change it to a I could use purple Inktense on top of it. Or I could, but I don't like that bright pink. I can tell you that. I don't like that cerise pink. I love the purple. And the cerise pink is probably going to need to be changed. But I don't know. I can't really go darker purple on it. It could be that I could just fix it with maybe a see if we add a little green in there, if that makes it any better. Once it dries, we'll see if we can. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it to be different because I don't like that color. That is kind of a Pepto-Bismol pink, and that always makes me go, bleh. Don't like Pepto-Bismol. Don't like bubble gum. You know, the way that bubble gum smells. I don't like that. So, yeah, and that's what that color reminds me of. It reminds me of bubble gum. Wait, Sue and completely defeating. What? Oh, wait, what? Somebody is trying to call me. I can't imagine who it would be, but let me go turn it off. Ugh. Oh, thank you, phone, for identifying who that was. That was a spam political call. Guess what? I pressed the button that went off. How did I live so long without one of those? I had the ringers off, that's how. Okay, everybody. As ever, you all are amazing. Thank you for sticking with me through, whoa, three and a half hours? 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. 3.5 plus hours. Thank you to Jo Beth for, well, actually, I shouldn't say thank you. I'm sorry to Jo Beth for the reasons why, but thank you to Jo Beth for letting me run along today. And everybody, it is so lovely to have you here. And until we meet again next week, and I will be doing a midweek video. I promise. Mostly because I really want to do a highlight reel of some of the colorists from my coloring group. I really want to I need to get back to doing my colorist reels so that you guys can see the talented people and all of that. And I get to like I get to brag about them of all the people in my group. So thank you all so very, very much for joining me here today. Till we meet again, color something pretty. Shara, thank you again for the super chats. Bye, everybody. Enjoy your week. See you soon.